La estrecha sala de control de la estación orbital de la Fuerza Espacial de la Tierra Unida vibraba de tensión. El comandante Jack Mercer se inclinó sobre una consola. Sus ojos escanearon los datos que se transmitían a través de la pantalla a su lado. El teniente Carl Hayes, su segundo al mando, tecleó comandos en su terminal. Las señales se hacían más fuertes. Comandante, definitivamente no es uno de los nuestros. Carl informó que estaba ajustando la frecuencia en el receptor. Jack frunció el ceño. ¿Alguna idea de a quién pertenece? Negativo. No coincide con ninguna señal terrestre conocida. Podría ser. Contacto con Jack Primer. La sala quedó en silencio cuando la realidad se instaló entre la tripulación. Jack enderezó su voz. Está bien. Mantengan la línea abierta. ¿Alguna respuesta? Carl negó con la cabeza. Silencio hasta ahora sin previo aviso. La estática en la pantalla principal dio paso a una imagen clara de un ser delgado de piel plateada con grandes ojos luminiscentes. La voz del alienígena llegó a través de los altavoces, modulada pero inequívocamente educada. Saludos de la Federación Celtron. Soy el enviado Talak. Venimos en paz. Jack dio un paso adelante. Su postura era calma y mesurada. Este es el comandante Jack Mercer de la Fuerza Espacial de la Tierra Unida. Los recibimos. Enviado bienvenido a la órbita de la Tierra BVAC, ascendiendo con la cabeza mientras escaneaba su propio conjunto de datos, gracias. Comandante Mercer. Nuestra intención no era alarmarlo. Estamos en una misión pacífica a través de este sector y detectamos su presencia. Carl le susurró a Jack. Pregúnteles por qué están aquí. Debe haber algo más. Jack acercándose sutilmente pacífico antes de dirigirse al enviado. Nuevamente, apreciamos el enfoque. Enviado. Talak. ¿Puedo preguntar qué lo trae por este sector? Talak hizo una pausa, su expresión ilegible para ser sincero. Comandante, estamos aquí como nuestros sensores de advertencia detectan actividades del Imperio GHFY cerca de su sistema. No son conocidos por sus intenciones pacíficas. Como una raza de compañeros de carenado espacial, nos sentimos obligados a advertirle. Jack intercambió una mirada con Carl. La preocupación grabada en sus rasgos, su advertencia es debidamente anotada. Enviado, ¿tiene alguna información sobre sus capacidades o intenciones? El Imperio HFY es expansivo y busca incorporar nuevos mundos rápidamente. Pueden ver su planeta como un activo estratégico. Instamos a la precaución explicada. Talak Carl intervino. ¿Hay algún consejo que pueda ofrecer sobre cómo podemos defendernos? El enviado pareció reflexionar sobre esto antes de responder. No puedo interferir directamente en sus planos de defensa, pero esté atento. Su tecnología es impresionante, puede que los sorprenda. Confíe en su capacidad para adaptarse y responder. Jack ascendió. Gracias, enviado. Nos prepararemos y nos mantendremos alerta. Cuando terminó la comunicación, Jack se volvió hacia la tripulación reunida. Muy bien, gente, tenemos trabajo que hacer. Carl se reúne con el superior personal que necesitamos para evaluar nuestra preparación. Carl ascendió y tecleó comandos en su consola. Notificaré a todos los departamentos. Es hora de elaborar una estrategia. Jack miró por la ventana a las estrellas. El peso del liderazgo lo oprimía, pero la determinación en las acciones de su tripulación fortaleció su resolución. Estarían listos sin importar lo que hiciera falta. El comandante Jack Mercer se paró al frente de la sala de reuniones a bordo de la nave insignia de las Fuerzas Espaciales de la Tierra Unida, la vanguardia de la UE. Su audiencia era una colección de los principales mentes militares y analistas estratégicos que la Tierra tenía para ofrecer. Todos se reunieron para discutir la inminente amenaza del Imperio GHFY. Damas y caballeros, Jack comenzó. Su voz llevaba un peso solemne. Hemos recibido información creíble de la Federación Celtron sobre un imperio alienígena con intenciones hostiles hacia la Tierra. El Imperio GHFY no es solo una amenaza potencial, son una amenaza probable. Al otro lado de la sala, el general A. Clarkson, un oficial experimentado con una mente táctica aguda, levantó una mano. Comandante, ¿qué exactamente estamos viendo en términos de sus capacidades? Jack hizo clic en un control remoto y la pantalla detrás de él se iluminó con imágenes de enormes naves de guerra elegantes, cada una repleta de armamentos. Esto es lo último de nuestros satélites de reconocimiento cerca de la órbita de Júpiter. Estas naves fueron vistas entrando en nuestro sistema solar. Creemos que son exploradores, pero su potencia de fuego es sustancial. El Dr. Leo Jen, el jefe de investigación de tecnología extraterrestre de la Tierra, intervino. Hemos estado analizando los datos. Proporcionados por los Celtrons, la tecnología Buggees es avanzada, pero no. Invulnerables, sus escudos tienen un alto consumo de energía, probablemente un punto débil. Carl Hayes, de pie junto a Jack, agregó que hemos estado ejecutando simulaciones basadas en sus tácticas esperadas. Prefieren una fuerza abrumadora, pero nuestros pilotos son más ágiles. Nuestra respuesta es más rápida. Podemos superarlos en maniobras. El general Clarkson dijo pensativamente. ¿Cuál es nuestra estrategia para el enfrentamiento? Entonces Jack caminó ligeramente con las manos entrelazadas detrás de su espalda, golpeó y corrió para probar sus respuestas. Necesitamos más datos sobre cómo reaccionan. Bajo presión, Carl. Quiero que te coordines con las bases lunares, establezcas perímetros defensivos y te asegures de que nuestras baterías de misiles estén en alerta máxima. Carl reconoció con un asentimiento rápido. Lo haremos, Jack. También me aseguraré de que nuestras líneas de comunicación sean seguras. No podemos permitirnos ninguna fuga o interferencia. La atmósfera de la habitación estaba tensa a medida que la realidad de su situación se apoderaba del grupo. Las siguientes palabras de Jack fueron decisivas. Esto no es solo una operación militar, se trata de supervivencia, necesitar ser astuto, ingenioso y sobre todo unificado. Cada departamento, cada unidad necesita estar a bordo y lista para respuesta rápida. El Dr. Yang habló. Propongo que aceleremos el desarrollo de los cañones EMP. Si sus escudos consumen mucha energía, un pulso electromagnético bien ubicado podría desactivarlos al menos, temporalmente. El general Clarkson estuvo de acuerdo. Una excelente sugerencia. El Dr. Yang le dijo a Jack que priorizara ese proyecto. Comandante, ¿qué pasa con los canales diplomáticos? ¿Alguna posibilidad de que podamos negociar con estas vagas? Jack negó con la cabeza. Cada indicación que tenemos sugiere que los Vacnas no respetan lo que perciben como civilizaciones menores, no negociarán a menos que podamos demostrar fuerza. Cuando la reunión llegó a su fin, Jack miró a su equipo. Cada miembro ahora estaba ocupado con sus tareas. Su expresión estaba determinada. Nos han advertido y ahora nos preparamos. Demostramos al Imperio HFY que la Tierra no es un objetivo que se pueda tomar a la ligera. Con la sala despejándose, Carl se quedó con expresión seria. Jack, ¿de verdad crees que podemos lograr esto? Jack lo miró a los ojos. Su respuesta fue firme. Tenemos que hacerlo, Carl. No tenemos otra opción. Cuando salieron de la sala, los pasillos de la vanguardia de la UE zumbaban de actividad. La nave y su tripulación se estaban preparando no solo para una batalla, sino para la defensa de su hogar. La cubierta de mando de la vanguardia de los EEUU era una colmena de monitores de actividad que mostraban las posiciones estratégicas de la red de defensa de la Tierra, mientras el zumbido de los motores resonaba por el pasillo. El comandante Jack Mercer estaba de pie en el centro, con los ojos fijos en la pantalla principal. A su lado, Carl Hayes y el general A. Clarkson monitoreaban los flujos de datos entrantes. Comandante, hemos detectado un grupo de naves BGNE moviéndose hacia la órbita de la Tierra, informó Enen María Torres desde su estación. Son naves más pequeñas. Probablemente una fuerza de reconocimiento. Jack afirmó. Esta es nuestra oportunidad de reunir información, General Clarkson. ¿Cuál es el estado de nuestros sistemas de defensa? Clarkson revisó su terminal. Todas las baterías de misiles están operativas y nuestras casas están en espera. Los cañones EMP están instalados pero no completamente probados. Jack se volvió hacia Carl. Prepare a nuestros pilotos. Quiero una formación defensiva que pueda adaptarse rápidamente. Tenemos que estar listos para cualquier cosa. Carl transmitió las órdenes. Su voz firme. Escuadrones Alfa y Bravo. Prepárense para el lanzamiento formación defensiva. Delta. Manténganse alertas y esperen más instrucciones. Los minutos pasaban mientras las naves Venus se acercaban. La tensión en la cubierta de mando era palpable. La mente de Jack corría con posibles escenarios, cada uno de los cuales conducía a un posible choque. Sabía que los vagos estarían probando sus capacidades, buscando debilidades. Las naves enemigas están entrando en el campo de tiro, anuncia María. Jack respiró hondo. Alto el fuego. Veamos. ¿Qué hacen? Las naves VGN comenzaron a acercarse con cautela. Sus movimientos se calcularon. De repente abrió fuego. Ráfagas láser atravesaron el vacío hacia las defensas de la Tierra. La primera descarga golpeó un satélite, reduciéndolo a una explosión ardiente. ¡Devuelvan el fuego! Todas las baterías se activaron. Jack ordenó a los UES. Vanguard y las defensas terrestres de la Tierra cobraron vida. Los misiles se lanzaron al unísono y formaron un arco a través del espacio. Toward the enemy, fighters roared out of their bays, weaving through the chaos to engage the Vegas ships. Carl's voice cut through the noise. Alpha Squadron target their lead ship. Bravo provide cover on the screen. The battle unfolded in a dazzling display of lights and explosions. Earth's defenses, though outnumbered, fought with precision and ferocity. Jack watched as the Vegas ships maneuvered their tactics unfamiliar, yet revealing patterns. They're focusing on our satellites, General Clarkson observed. They're trying to blind us, noted. Jack replied. Redirect our fire to protect our eyes in the sky. EMP cannons on standby. The battle raged on the VGIS ships, taking hits but not retreating. Jack could see their strategy: test the defenses, gather data, and withdraw. He wasn't going to let them leave unscathed. Maria, prepare to fire the EMP cannon on my mark. Target their lead ship, Jack commanded. Yes, Sir Maria replied, fingers flying over her console the moment stretched as the cannon charged its energy. Building to a critical point, the VGE's ships continued their assault, unaware of the impending strike fire. Jack ordered the EMP cannon discharged a wave of electromagnetic energy. Rippling through space, it struck the lead Vegas ship, causing a cascade of sparks and arcs of electricity. The ship's lights flickered and then went dark, drifting powerless. Direct hit. Maria reported the sudden loss of their lead ship threw the VGIS formation into disarray. Earth's forces capitalized on the confusion, pressing their attack missiles, found their marks, and fighters took out vulnerable targets. Enemy ships are retreating. Carl announced they're falling back. Jack allowed himself a brief moment of relief. Good work. Everyone keep an eye on them until they're out of range. The battle wound down as the Vegas ships limped away, their probing attack repelled. The command deck erupted in cheers, but Jack remained stoic. This was only the beginning. Carl assesses the damage and report back, General. Clarkson, I want a full analysis of their tactics. We need to be ready for their next move. Jack instructed Carl. Agreed, already working on the report on it. Jack, General Clarkson added, we held them off this time, but they'll be back. We need to prepare for a larger assault. Jack agreed. His mind already working on the next steps we've shown them. We won't be easy prey. Let's make sure we're ready for whatever they throw at us next. As the crew settled back into their routines, Jack took a moment to look out. At the stars, the Vernus Empire had underestimated Earth, but he knew they wouldn't make that mistake again. The real battle was still to come, and he intended to be ready in the aftermath of the initial skirmish. The command center of the UES Vanguard was buzzing with activity. Commander Jack Mercer was in the midst of a debriefing session with his team discussing the lessons learned and the next steps to prepare for a more significant assault. General A.A. Clarkson tapped her tablet, pulling up damage reports and enemy engagement data. We took some hits, but our defenses held up better than expected, she noted, looking up at Jack. Our response was effective, but we can't rely on traditional tactics alone. The VGEs will adapt quickly. Jack agreed in agreement, agreed we need to push our technological edge further. Dr. Jen, what do you have for us? Dr. Leo, Jen, the lead, scientist responsible for Earth's defensive technologies, adjusted his glasses and cleared his throat. We've made progress on several fronts. First, we've improved the EMP cannon designed to decrease charge time and increase range. Additionally, we're developing a new type of drone that can infiltrate enemy ships and cause internal chaos. Carl Hayes, leaning against the wall, chimed in. Infiltration drones could give us the element of surprise. What about our AI capabilities? We're enhancing our AI algorithms for better real-time battle analysis and decision-making support. Dr. Zhang explained this should give our pilots and missile systems an edge in targeting and evasion maneuvers. Jack considered this, his mind racing through various scenarios. Let's prioritize the projects we need. Every advantage we can get. General Clarkson, coordinate with Dr. Jen to ensure these tech updates are implemented fleet-wide. General Clarkson agreed. Will do, Jack. I'll also oversee the training simulations to integrate these new technologies. As the meeting continued, Jack turned his attention to the strategic map displayed on the large screen. Our next concern is the probable return. They've tasted our capabilities and might come back with a larger force. We need to repair our outer defenses, especially around key installations like space stations and lunar bases. Carl stepped forward, tapping the screen to bring up the locations of Earth's satellite networks. We should consider setting up decoys in redundant systems. If they aim to blind us by taking out our satellites, we need robust countermeasures. Jack agreed, his expression stern yet focused. Make it happen. Carl, work with communications and engineering. I want multiple fail-safes. The meeting moved towards planning and resource allocation. Jack assigned tasks, ensuring each department knew their responsibilities as the team dispersed. Jack approached Dr. Jen for a private word. Leo, I'm particularly interested in those drones, how soon we can deploy them on a trial basis. Dr. Zhang checked his tablet, then looked up with cautious optimism. We can have a prototype ready for field testing in a couple of weeks if all goes well. Production can be scaled up quickly. Excellent, Jack replied, clapping him on the shoulder. Keep me updated. Your work could turn the tide after the meeting's concluded. Jack walked through the corridors of the UES Vanguard, observing the hustle and diligent work of his crew. Everywhere he looked, he saw determination and innovation at play. Scientists, engineers, and military personnel worked together, refining their tools and strategies, stopping by the main hangar. Jack watched as pilots and engineers tested out new flight maneuvers and weapon systems. The sight filled him with a sense of pride and resolve. Despite the looming threat, Earth's defenders, they were not just waiting to be attacked, they were actively preparing, using the best of human creativity and resolve to secure their future as he returned to his quarters. Jack felt a renewed sense of confidence the VGEs might have, superior numbers and firepower, but Earth had something just as powerful. The ingenuity and relentless spirit of its people. The quiet hum of the U Vanguard's painted command center was shattered by the urgent blare of alarms. Commander Jack Mercer snapped to attention as data streams a grim picture on the main screen in Maria Torres. Her voice tense relayed the critical information. Commander, the VGIS fleet has returned. It's massive. Sir, hundreds of ships, possibly more. They've launched a coordinated strike across several orbital points. Jack's jaw tightened as he assessed the situation. Status report on our defensive positions. General A.A. Clarkson, who had been monitoring troop deployments, respond quickly. Our orbital and lunar defenses are engaged, but they're outnumbered. The VGEs are deploying ground troops as well. Major cities are at risk. Carl Hayes added, our new EMP cannons are operational, but we'll need precision targeting to make an impact against a fleet this size. Jack agreed decisively. Deploy the cannon strategically. Target their capital ships. Maria, coordinate with Space Command for real-time satellite guidance. Yes, sir, Maria replied, her fingers flying over the console. Jack turned to the rest of his command team. This is it. We need to hold them back at all costs. Carl, launch all fighter squadrons. Target their smaller support vessels. We need to break Their formations Carl acknowledged and quickly relayed the orders. Fighter jets equipped with the latest in Earth's military tech launched in rapid sequences, their engines lighting up the darkness of space as the battle escalated. The Vegas fleet unleashed a relentless barrage of energy weapons on Earth's defenses. The command center shook with the reports of impacts and explosions from the front lines. Jack, steadfast in his resolve, kept his focus on the tactical displays, issuing commands and adjusting strategies on the fly. General Clarkson reported another development. Jack, they've started deploying troops in the metro zones. Our urban units are engaging, but they could use support fund drones to assist in the cities, use them to disrupt the Vegas ground forces. Jack ordered. He then switched the communication channel to address the leaders of the urban defense directly. This is Commander Mercer. Help is on the way. Hold your positions and keep the invaders from advancing as the battle waged. On both fronts, Dr. Liu Jiang approached Jack with an urgent update. Commander, the prototype infiltration drones are ready. They can sabotage the VGNA ships from the inside. Jack considered the risks and deployed them. Leo, target the largest ships. If we can create confusion in their ranks, it could give us the edge we need. Dr. Jen coordinated with the drone operators launching the stealth units towards the V fleet. The small and agile drones slipped through the enemy defenses and began their silent assault. Meanwhile, on Earth, the urban battlefields were chaotic, despite the Vegas' superior firepower. Earth soldiers held their ground, bolstered by the support from the drones that disrupted the alien communications and weapon systems back on the UES Vanguard. Jack watched as reports of the drone's success started coming. In several Vegna ships reported malfunctions and internal explosions. Good work, Dr. Jiang, keep the pressure on them. The tide of the battle began to turn as the VGI's fleet, now grappling with internal chaos and a fierce counterattack from Earth's forces, started to show signs of disorder. Jack seized the moment to increase their assault push forward. He commanded all units. Focus fire on their flagship. If we take down their command, we can break their resolve, as the flagship of the VGI's fleet took significant damage from concentrated fire. Its ability to coordinate the attack faltered. Seeing the opportunity, Earth's forces redoubled their efforts, driving the invaders back step by step. The siege of Earth was brutal, but through strategic genius and the unyielding spirit of its defenders, Earth was holding its ground. Jack Mercer, watching the battle unfold, knew this fight was far from over, but they had proven that Earth would not fall easily. With every minute they were writing a testament to the courage and determination of humanity. The relentless battle for Earth continued unabated, the Vegas Empire pressing hard against humanity's defenses. In the Vanguard's command center, Commander Jack Mercer oversaw the counter-offensive, his eyes never leaving the tactical displays. General Clarkson, ever vigilant, updated Jack on their progress. We've managed to repel their ground forces in several urban centers. Our EMP strikes have crippled 3 of their largest carriers. They're reeling. Jack agreeing to his gaze. Intense good Leighton not give them a moment to regroup. Dr. Jiang, what's the status on the infiltration drones? Dr. Liu Jiang, monitoring the situation from his station, replied, The drones are causing havoc, sir. We've taken control of 2 enemy vessels and used their weapons against the fleet. It's working better than expected. Carl Hayes piped up from his console. We've intercepted transmissions between the remaining VGIS ships. They're confused, struggling with command and control issues. Jack's lips curved into a grim smile. Exactly what we needed. Carl, coordinate with our forces on the moon. It's time to push them back even further. Launch the secondary wave of drones to target their support ships. Carl acknowledged with a quick salute and immediately set to work relaying orders to lunar base commanders and drone control units. The second wave of drones stealthily departed from their lunar base, making their way toward the unsuspecting Vegas ships. Meanwhile, on Earth, the sounds of battle echoed through the cities. Despite the devastation, the human spirit remained unbroken. Civilians helping to fortify positions and aid wounded soldiers. Every successful repulsion of the Vegas troops was met with cheers, fueling the defenders with renewed vigor. Back on the Vanguard, Jack received a crucial update from the satellite network. Sir, we've spotted a vulnerability in the VGIS fleet's formation. Their flagship has moved to the rear. Possibly for repairs, it's less defended. Jack seized on this information. That's our target, General Clarkson assemble. A strike team, we're going to take out their flagship. General Clarkson coordinated the strike, deploying a mix of human pilots and AI-controlled fighters to penetrate the enemy lines as the strike team approached the flagship. They faced intense resistance, but the disarray among the Vegas forces gave them the edge they needed. The battle was fierce, with every pilot fighting as if the fate of Earth depended on it, which did explosions lit up the void of space as the strike team made its way to the heart of the enemy fleet as the flagship came into view. Jack gave the order, all units. Focus your fire, disable that ship, the combined firepower of Earth. Strike team overwhelmed the flagship's defenses. Critical hits disabled its propulsion and weapon systems, leaving it adrift. The symbolic heart of the VGIS fleet was effectively neutralized, with their flagship incapacitated. Confusion and disarray spread throughout the VGIS ranks. Earth's forces took advantage of the situation, mounting pressure across all fronts. The VGEs, realizing their area's position, began to retreat from Earth's orbit. Jack watched the retreating ships, his face stern yet relieved, monitor their withdrawal. Make sure they leave our system. Carl turned to Jack, admiration in his eyes. We did it, Jack. You did it. Jack shook his head modestly. We did it together. Every one of us. Let's make sure we're ready if they ever come back. As the command center burst into a restrained celebration, Jack felt a moment of pride. Humanity had stood against a colossal threat and held its ground through innovation, courage, and unyielding determination. The battle might have ended, but the war for their place in the galaxy was just beginning as the VGIS fleet began its retreat from Earth. Jack Mercer realized that their victory was incomplete. The threat of a regrouped and vengeful alien force loomed large. His next move was crucial. General Clarkson, reroute our lunar defenses. I want every available unit ready for a potential counterstrike. They might try to regroup at the moon to cover their withdrawal. Jack directed, his eyes locked on the strategic display showing the moon's orbit. General Ada Clarkson agreed, swiftly issuing orders. I'm on it, Jack. I'll coordinate with the lunar bases to set up a defensive perimeter. We'll catch them off guard. Carl Hayes looked up from his console. We have movement near Sector 4. Looks like a portion of their fleet is breaking formation, possibly to rally at their forward base on the moon. That's our cue. Jack stated, we can't let them fortify. Prepare all squadrons for full assault. This ends today on the moon's surface. Earth's lunar bases bristled with active troops fortified positions, while missile silos were prepped for a synchronous strike as the Venus fleet approached, unaware of the preparations. Tension among the human defenders was palpable in the Vanguard's command center. Jack watched as the first wave of VGI's ships entered the moon's orbit. Fire at will. Target their lead ships. We can't let they establish a foothold. The lunar landscape lit up as missile batteries unleashed a devastating barrage, catching the leading VGIS vessels off guard. Explosions dotted the black canvas of space as one ship after another suffered critical damage. Carl monitored the battle's progress, his voice steady. Direct hits on multiple targets. Their formation is breaking. Meanwhile, Earth's fighter squadrons, led by seasoned pilots, swooped in to engage the enemy. The dogfights were intense, with both sides suffering losses, but the advantage was with Earth's force, their familiarity with lunar gravitational anomalies giving them the upper hand. Jack's focus remained sharp as he commanded from the Vanguard, push forward. Keep them disoriented. Deploy the infiltration drones to their capital ships. We need to end this. Now Dr. Liu Zhang, overseeing the drone operations, confirmed the deployment. Drones are en route to the target. We should see their effects shortly. As the drones infiltrated the VGI ships, chaos ensued within the alien fleet systems. Failure and internal sabotage crippled their ability to retaliate effectively, one by one. The VGNA ships lost power and control, drifting aimlessly in the harsh lunar orbit. General Clarkson updated Jack on the status the enemy is in disarray. Jack, their command structure is collapsing under our assault. Jack allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction. Prepare for the final push. This battle ends on our terms with a renewed barrage from the lunar bases and relentless pressure from the fighter squadrons. The remnants of the VGI's fleet were overwhelmed. The Battle of Luna was brutal and decisive. As the last VGIS ship attempted to flee, it was struck by a missile erupting into a brilliant fireball that marked the end of the conflict. Jack stood in the command center, his crew around him, each face reflecting the fatigue and relief of victory. Monitor the debris field and remaining enemy signals. I want continuous sweeps. They're not coming back from this, but we need to be vigilant. Carl approached Jack, a slight smile, breaking through his fatigue. You did it, Jack, we did it, Jack affirmed, looking out at the stars beyond. We defended our home. Carl, let's make sure we keep it safe for the future. The Battle of Luna would go down in history as a turning point, a moment when humanity not only survived an alien threat, but proved his mettle in the unforgiving expanse of space. Jack Mercer, a commander not just by rank but by action, had led his people to a hard-earned victory. The aftermath of the Battle of Luna left the VGIS fleet in ruins, scattered across the expanse between Earth and his moon. Commander Jack Mercer, standing in the command center of the UES Vanguard, surveyed the reports coming in minimal human casualties and significant enemy losses. It was a decisive victory, but the weight of command and the cost of war rested heavily on his shoulders. General Ada Clarkson approached Jack, her expression serious, yet relieved. The VGIS, a retreating Jack, surveys and confirms their remaining ships are exiting the solar system. It seems we've dissuaded them from any future attempts. Jack agreed to his gaze, lingering on the digital maps displaying their victory. Make sure our monitoring stations remain alert. General, we can't afford to be caught off guard again. Carl Hayes, who had been coordinating the recovery efforts, joined them. Recovery teams are deployed. We're salvaging what we can from the debris. There might be tech we can use to bolster our defenses further. Jack considered this, turning to Dr. Lee, or Jen, who was already examining the preliminary scans of alien technology. Dr. Jen, prioritize any technology that can enhance our defense systems. I don't want this kind of threat catching us unprepared ever again. Dr. Jen agreed. Eagerly, absolutely, Commander. There's a lot we can learn from their tech. I'll ensure our teams are on it as the cleanup and recovery operations continued. Earth's governments agreed to reassess their position in the galaxy. Jack was called to brief world leaders on the conflict, the lessons learned, and the measures needed to prevent another such assault standing before the assembly. Jack delivered his report with clarity and conviction. Ladies and gentlemen, this conflict has taught us about our vulnerabilities and our strengths. The Vegas underestimated humanity's resolve and our capabilities to defend ourselves. We must take this opportunity to unify our efforts to strengthen our alliances and to prepare for any future threats, be they from the VGs or elsewhere. His words resonated across the global community, sparking a series of initiatives aimed at space defense and technological advancement. New treaties were signed, and the Earth Space Defense Alliance was formed, a testament to the need for cooperation among all nations. Meanwhile, on a personal note, Jack visited the families of the fallen, offering condolences and honoring their sacrifices. Each visit was a sobering reminder of the cost of peace and security in the weeks that followed. Earth saw a period of mourning mixed with rebuilding. Monuments were erected in major cities commemorating the bravery and sacrifices of those who had fought in the battle. Jack attended the unveilings, his presence a comforting reminder of their victory and survival at the final ceremony. Jack spoke to a crowd gathered in New York City under the shadow of a new monument depicting a globe surrounded by olive branches and swords. We stand here today not just as survivors, but as guardians of our world. Each name inscribed on this monument tells a story of courage and sacrifice. Let their memory guide us as we move forward. Vigilant and prepared, we owe them that much. As the crowd dispersed, Jack stood alone for a moment looking up at the monument. The weight of command was his to bear, and though peace had been secured, the future was a vast, unknown frontier. But for now, Earth was safe, and humanity had shown that it would not yield to tyranny or aggression. Jack turned and walked away from the monument. The setting sun came. Casting long shadows, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, guided by the enduring spirit of those he had vowed to protect.